ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸುಧಾಕರ್. ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪಾಡ್ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮಾತನಾಡಲು ಹೊರಟಿರೋದು ವಿಶ್ವ ತಂಬಾಕು ರಹಿತ ದಿನವನ್ನು ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇದರ ಮಹತ್ವ ಏನು ಎನ್ನುವ ವಿಚಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಇಂಥದ್ದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಚಾರವನ್ನು ಆರಂಭಿಸಿದ್ದು ವಿಶ್ವ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರು. ತಂಬಾಕು ಬಳಕೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾರಕ ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಇದರ ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆಯ ದನಿಯನ್ನು ಎತ್ತುವಂತಹ ಇದರ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶ. ತಂಬಾಕು ಸೇವನೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಪಾಯಕಾರಿ ಎಂಬುದು ನಿಮಗೀಗಾಗಲೇ ತಿಳಿದಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ತಂಬಾಕು ಬಳಕೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ತಂಬಾಕು ದುರ್ಬಳಕೆಯಿಂದ ಜಾಗತಿಕ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಯುವವರ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯೇ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಎಂಬುದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂಶ ಅಂದರೆ, ಧೂಮಪಾನ ಚಟಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾದವರನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದು ಬಾಧಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಧೂಮಪಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಅಪಾಯಕಾರಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಎ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಸ್ಮೋಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ. ಧೂಮಪಾನ ಮಾಡೋರ್ಗಿನ್ನ ಅವ್ರ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಪಾಯಕಾರಿ. ತಂಬಾಕು ಸೇವನೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೇವಲ ಧೂಮಪಾನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹೊಗೆ ಸೊಪ್ಪು ಜಗಿಯುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿದೆ. ಇದು ಧೂಮಪಾನ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕೂಡ 10 ಪಟ್ಟು ಅಪಾಯಕಾರಿ ಎಂಬುದು ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಬಾಯಿ, ಗಂಟ್ಲು, ಪ್ಯಾನ್ಕ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮೇದೋಜೀರಕ ಗ್ರಂಥಿಯ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ನಂತಹ ಅನೇಕ ಮಾರಕ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಅದು ಕಾರಣವಾಗ್ತದೆ. 30 ರೀತಿಯ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ಗಳು ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಕಂಡುಕೊಂಡ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸತ್ಯ ಕೂಡ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಇಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅದು ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ಗಂಟೆ. ಅದೇನೆಂದರೆ, ಕೋವಿಡ್-19 ರೋಗಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವಿನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಅಧಿಕವಾಗಿರುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಧೂಮಪಾನವು ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣ ಎಂಬುದು. ಇದು ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಆತಂಕಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ತಂಬಾಕು ಸೇವನೆಗೆ ಈಗಿನಿಂದಲೇ ಕಡಿವಾಣ ಹಾಕುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಗತ್ಯ. ಧೂಮಪಾನದಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗಲು ಕೆಲವು ಉಪಯುಕ್ತ ಸಲಹೆಗಳನ್ನು ನೀವು ಪಾಲಿಸಲೇಬೇಕು. ನೀವು ತಂಬಾಕು ವ್ಯಸನಿಯಾಗಿರುವುದು, ಅದರಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಹೊಂದುವ ಜರೂರತ್ತು ಅಥವಾ ಹಂಬಲ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಅನೇಕ ಮಾರ್ಗಗಳಿವೆ. ನಿಕೋಟಿನ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಥೆರಪಿ ಅಂತ, ಅಥವಾ ಬದಲಿ ನಿಕೋಟಿನ್ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆ ಮತ್ತು ವೈದ್ಯರು ಸೂಚಿಸಿದ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ತಂಬಾಕಿನ ಕಡುಬಯಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ರೇವಿಂಗ್ನಿಂದ ನೀವು ಪಾರಾಗ್ಬೋದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ವೈದ್ಯರನ್ನು ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಹತ್ತಿರದ ವ್ಯಸನ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಪಡೆಯಿರಿ. ವ್ಯಸನದಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗುವ ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ತಂಬಾಕು ಧೂಮಪಾನದಿಂದ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ನೀವು ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಅದನ್ನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬ ಮತ್ತು ಗೆಳೆಯರ ಜೊತೆ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ವ್ಯಸನದಿಂದ ವಿಮುಕ್ತರಾಗುವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಹಾಯದ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ತಂಬಾಕಿನ ಗೀಳಿನಿಂದ ಪಾರಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಕೈಗೊಂಡ ಕ್ಷಣದಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನೀವು ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ. ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಉಲ್ಲಾಸದಿಂದ, ಲವಲವಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಇರುವಂತೆ ನೋಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾತನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆದದ್ದಾಗಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಿಗರೇಟ್ ಸೇದಿ ಬಿಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರಚೋದನೆಗೂ ಒಳಗಾಗಬೇಡಿ. ಧೂಮಪಾನ, ಮದ್ಯಪಾನ, ಕ್ಯಾಫೇನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಧೂಮಪಾನದ ಹಳೆಯ ಸಂಗಾತಿಯ ಸಂಘ ಇವ್ಯಾವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ. ಅಂತಿಮವಾಗಿ ವ್ಯಸನ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗಿ ಖುಷಿಯ ಜೀವನ, ಸಂತೋಷದ ಜೀವನ ನಡೆಸುತ್ತಿರುವವರಲ್ಲಿ ನಂದೊಂದು ಮನವಿ ಇದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರುವ ತಂಬಾಕು ಧೂಮಪಾನದ ದಾಸರಾದವರಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಹಸ್ತವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ಸಂತೋಷದ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಕರೆತನ್ನಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ವ್ಯಸನ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಪಯಣದ ಅನುಭವಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ವ್ಯಸನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಉಪಯುಕ್ತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಲಹೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಜಾಲತಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಮೋಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ಸ್ ನಾವ್ ಎಂದು ಹ್ಯಾಶ್ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇಂತಹ ಸಲಹೆಗಳು ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಅನೇಕರಿಗೆ ಸಹಕಾರಿಯಾಗಲಿದೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುಮಾನನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಪಾಡ್ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸುವ ಮುನ್ನ ತಂಬಾಕನ್ನು ತ್ಯಜಿಸುವ ಈ ಪಯಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವುದು ನೀವೊಬ್ಬರೇ ಅಲ್ಲ ಎಂಬುದನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿಯೇ ನಾವು ವ್ಯಸನ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ತಜ್ಞರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಪ್ರತಿಮಾ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ನಿಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ನ ಇವರ ಜೊತೆ ಸಂವಾದಕ್ಕೆ ಏರ್ಪಾಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅವರು ಹೇಗೆ ವ್ಯಸನ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗಬೇಕು ಎನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲವು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲವು ಮಹತ್ವದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಉತ್ತರವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪಾಡ್ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಇರಿ. ತಂಬಾಕಿಗೆ ಗುಡ್ ಬೈ ಹೇಳಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
So can we start our question and
Sure, let's
session? Yeah. So let's start by asking how easy or difficult to quit smoking?
So let me say it's both difficult and easy to do. Okay. Let's talk about the difficulty first. It's difficult to stop tobacco for a lot of people because tobacco contains a psychoactive chemical called nicotine. Nicotine is extremely addictive. A lot of people make up their minds to quit, but when they quit, nicotine reduces in the body, and that causes a lot of craving to want to use tobacco. So in order to reduce this craving, they go back to smoking again. But if people understand that this craving will be there only for a few days, they know how to deal with this craving, then it's easy.
Why is it very important to quit smoking?
So if a person wants to help themselves, the best decision they can make in life is to quit smoking or any form of tobacco. We all know that smoked tobacco contains about 7,000 chemicals, 70 of which of them are cancer producing. We also know that India is one of the leading countries which has oral cancer, and a large number of these cancers are due to chewing tobacco. Both tobacco in smoking as well as smokeless forms not only causes a variety of cancers in the body, it causes heart disease, it causes strokes, it causes lung diseases. Practically every organ in the body from head to toe is affected. A lot of young people don't know that, tobacco use causes premature aging, it causes sexual dysfunction. For others, it reduces the longevity. So people from tuberculosis, for example, who have tuberculosis and use tobacco, their mortality increases. And particularly in COVID times, we know that both smoking and smokeless forms are at, increase the risk of COVID infection, increase the complications from COVID. And that's why it's very important to stop it, particularly me.
Can an individual quit smoking without even help from the expert?
Without help from other people. So, okay, you've asked that can a person quit on their own? Of course they can quit on their own. And self-help is the best form of help. For people who are not very severely addicted, who don't, they can, and they don't have very severe withdrawal symptoms, what they can do is they must prepare themselves for quitting. They must know what to do with their hands when they are withdrawing, what to do with their mouth. So maybe keeping something in the mouth like, lavang or, cardamom or something like that, or chewing gum in their mouth, and knowing what to do with their hands. Having a good routine during the day, adequate diet, proper exercise, proper sleep hygiene. If they practice all this, if they have mild withdrawals, the withdrawals will go away in a few days' time. But for some other people who are very severely dependent, they may need both counseling as well as medications to help them to quit. Both are possible.
Dr. Pratima, what is the general percentage of success if somebody tries to get it from the
So without any help, the percentage of quitting is very, very low. It is said that every year, almost 70% of people want to quit. About 30% of them try. Only 1 to 2% succeed. And that is why they need support, they need help, they need awareness to quit.
Which is the most difficult phase during quitting, whether it is initial, middle, or the late stage?
Yeah. The most difficult phase is probably the first week of quitting, because in the first few hours when nicotine levels start to reduce, that's when the craving, withdrawal, irritation, all of those things set in. And then all these things gradually reduce over the next week and then they stop. But it is easy to quit, but it is difficult to stay quit, because when they go out with friends, when they see anything that reminds them of tobacco, then the urge comes back. And therefore it's important to practice how to deal with those urges for a much longer time.
What are the options while quitting?
So the first option, as you yourself said earlier, is to self-help, to learn how to deal with cravings, to decide to quit, to commit to quit. And that is the theme of this year's World No Tobacco Day. You must commit to quit. And then you try to quit. If you're not able to quit by yourself, by taking help of friends and family members, then you can get counseling to help. There are various things like M cessation, where you can give a missed call to the M cessation portal, and you can get multiple SMS messages on the importance of quitting, how is to call the tobacco quit line. And there are quit lines all over the country. And there will be a counselor at the other end who talks in the same language as the caller and will help the person to quit. Counseling is one important way of quitting. The counseling tells people why it's important to quit, just as you were asking. How can they quit? Can they suddenly stop? What are the withdrawal symptoms? How can they deal with craving? How can they deal with a negative mood? How do they keep their time occupied? How to make sure they sleep well? And then this encouragement helps people to stay quit. In addition, for people who have severe withdrawal symptoms, we have what is called nicotine replacement treatment, which is nicotine gums, which are commonly available in our country, or nicotine patches. We have non-nicotine medications called bupropion and varenicline. For people with severe addiction, they can take the help of both counseling as well as pharmacotherapy to quit.
So you're talking about the nicotine replacement therapy. How effective is this, and how useful is this for de-addiction of this whole tobacco?
So first of all, these are necessary only when people find the craving impossible to handle. What it does is it doubles or triples the quit rates. So which means that if 10% of people were able to quit without any help, it increases it to about 20 to 30%. The most important thing is that this has to be used properly. There is what is called the chew and park method, where the person takes the gum, chews it very slowly till they get a peppery taste in their mouth, and they park it in their gums. And when the craving comes, they use it again till that peppery taste disappears and the nicotine disappears. And they need to use it several times a day, only during the waking period. They must be sure that they don't swallow their spit, because that causes gastric irritation. And then gradually they need to taper the gums. With non-nicotine replacement, people set a quit date about a week or 10 days later. They start these medicines and then they abruptly quit on the quit date.
Is it safe?
So these medicines are absolutely safe, but obviously they need to be prescribed by a doctor. Whereas nicotine gums, if people know how to use it, they are available OTC or over the counter. But the medicines have to be prescribed because the physician needs to monitor them for any side effects.
So what are some important triggers that puts people back to smoking habit?
So there can be external triggers or internal triggers. External triggers typically is seeing somebody smoking, seeing anything that reminds them of smoking, maybe an ashtray, maybe a packet of gutka or kenny or something like that, or advertisements about people using tobacco. The internal cues are usually hunger, anger, loneliness, and tiredness. And perhaps friends who are also using it, that can also be a trigger.
I'm told these days, smaller children, even in the schools, they start smoking. how the parents, the schools, and the governments, how can be, how can they be more play a role in containing this, in ensuring that the children of this age don't get into this kind of a trap?
So that's a very important question. And I think the first responsibility lies first with adults. We have normalized tobacco use in our society. So I think the first thing that all of us need to do is denormalize tobacco use, because we know that tobacco is associated with such a large number of diseases. We must make sure that it is not considered as something that people usually do. The second thing is adults should be good role models for their children. Children do as they see, and therefore parents should not smoke around or use tobacco in front of their children. Sometimes people send children to go and buy tobacco products from the shops, especially the smokeless tobacco. So that is something that parents should not do. Now with this Tobacco Act, which prohibits us from smoking in public places, people are possibly smoking inside their homes, especially during lockdown now. And that is something that is dangerous, because we know smoking is not only dangerous for oneself, but also to others around them. So children and women who are exposed to secondhand smoking can also get the same problems as smokers. So those are all the responsibilities that adults must do. For children, we must teach them what are called life skills, which is really about decision making. What is right for me, what is wrong from me. So a lot of children are now able to see that they must not use tobacco, and we hope that the next generation will be saved from it. In terms of government, I think we know that demand reduction and supply reduction are both very important. So in the long run, whatever are the regulatory policies in terms of smoking prohibition in public places, not selling it to minors, making sure that Gutka ban is actually implemented both in spirit and on the ground. These are some of the very important things that governments need to do. Plus, of course, we know something called the Empower, which is the WHO strategy, which talks about monitoring policies, raising taxes, and so on. But in addition to that, we must make the public aware of the risks of tobacco use and offer help to them to quit. So starting more cessation facilities, making sure we train all our doctors, our nurses, and other healthcare professionals in counseling people. When they come to hospitals and have some other problem, like maybe a heart problem or diabetes and so on, we must train our healthcare professionals to ask them about tobacco use, advise them about not using tobacco use, assess their commitment to quit, offer assistance for them to quit, and arrange for follow-up or referrals if they are not able to provide that assistance. So if we follow this 5A model and train all our healthcare professionals, we can reach out to many people to help them to quit tobacco.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pratima. It has been extremely useful interaction with you. I hope the answers that you have given with so much of clarity, I hope our youngsters, the people who are addicted to this tobacco chewing or tobacco smoking, they really take a cue from this and they learn how to de-addict from all this and lead a great blissful life ahead.